Guys, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Daily Blue Weekly. My name's Bluey.
My name's Gabe.
And this is your weekly dose of all the news stories that matter, but it's mostly the ones that don't. We are joined by 1/3 of the Flog Cabin podcast, and now a published author, comedian, Mr. I've just blanked. Andrew Hamilton. Oh my God.
Gets and great stuff.
What a build-up.
Hi, Andrew. Thanks for coming on, bro.
No worries at all.
You know, I blanked because I was thinking, I'll do a nice intro because normally we have guests
It
on.
was very nice.
It was
Until you
and then
forgot my name.
And then I forgot your name. I'm so sorry. How are you, mate?
Very well. Yeah, thanks for having me, boys.
Thanks for coming up. But we're just telling us about how busy your day is today. So thanks for, appreciate you jumping on, mate.
No worries at all. Yes, it still seems very strange to hear people mention that I am soon to be an author.
Considering your checkered past.
Yeah, and I'm such a dumb cunt. It's a miracle that I got a book out.
Yeah, well, coming out July.
Yeah, end of July.
End of July.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
What's the title of it again?
The Profound Benefits of a Stint in Prison.
Okay, now that is clickbait if I've ever heard it.
So for anyone that might be listening who doesn't know why your book would be called that, can you tell us like a little bit about your sort of, like I said, checkered history and how you got into comedy? And
Sure. Well, I was a drug dealer for about 15 years.
That'll do it.
Started just as a magic mushroom supplier. I fell in love with mushrooms in Thailand and came back and told my mate, and I told him how good they were, and he started researching how to grow them. And next thing you know, we were growing different strains of magic mushrooms just to have like with my mates at parties. And
There's strains of those things?
Yeah, there's heaps of different strains, man. There's like gold tops and blue meanies and like penis envy, and there's like there's all kinds of
every
different
day.
strains. Yeah. That's just me at the trough.
every time I go to the urinal.
So
Nice, brother.
We focused on gold tops because we found them to be the most user friendly, and they grew a little faster, and so that was handy. And so what started as me just using them myself and selling them to just friends and friends of friends as a little bit of pocket money over the course of many years grew into quite a large business. And then I eventually broadened out to other drugs like acid and MDMA and ketamine and cocaine. Cocaine was the one that really fucked me because the other ones I could have in the house without really like having to have it every day, but coke was just sitting there in bags just yelling out to me.
So delicious.
Andrew. Yeah, I was dealing for 15 years, and by the end, it was like a very, very big operation. And I had a restaurant and a fiance and 2 dogs, and living in a big townhouse in Surrey Hills, and just making like just massive stacks of cash. And then,
respect.
And then my,
I was like, that sounds nice. And I was like, oh,
nice.
Not when you know how it ends.
Yeah. And then my missus had a mental breakdown on cocaine and ran off and told the cops that I was a drug dealer, and that was a problem because
thanks for pointing that out.
because it was true. That's why it was you can see how that would be bad. So the house got raided by the Raptor squad, and I got carted off to prison, and I was in remand, maximum security remand, for about 4 months before I eventually got bail. And I was on a house arrest at my parents' place, and when I was locked up, I had a chance to just kind of think back on my life and all my fuck-ups. And weirdly, I thought, what would I do if I could start my life over? And weirdly, the only answer in my head was stand-up comedy. That was the only answer.
Were you ever like fans of watching it?
I loved going to it, and I'd go to like local comedy gigs in Sydney, and I would sometimes write jokes out on my phone, but I never looked into like any open mics or made any actual plan to do it. It was just kind of like, when you just dream things in your head but you never put it into action.
Yeah.
It was just like that. But when I sat in jail, I was like, right, well, if that's the only answer, you've got to make sure when you get out of here that you do something about it.
Yeah.
That is profound. That's actually sick.
Yeah, thank you.
The title's making sense. Yeah.
So I got out, and I was on a house arrest at my parents' place, and I wasn't allowed out of the house unless I was in the company of my parents, who were both in their mid-70s. And so when I started going to open mic comedy nights, I had to bring my mum along, which is pretty grim because like
Not at all.
open mic comedy nights is mostly just dudes in their 20s talking about wanking for 2 hours.
Yeah, 100%. At least there's one extra person in the crowd, I suppose. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
They're like, you can come anytime, mate. You're a bringer. Yeah.
The old rent a crowd. How good's that?
So I had to bring my mum, and then I also had to, like, with guys that I just met, like, I had to ask if I could go on early in a bucket pool lineup show because I had to get home for my police curfew.
Jesus Christ.
And so I started doing stand up, and that went pretty well, pretty quickly. because I just wrote jokes. I was just pretty angry and lost when I got out of jail, and so I just wrote my pain. I wrote just things I was angry about and my own dumb life and all my fuck ups. And fortunately, people found that funny.
Everyone's
and
like, I feel like that.
Yeah, it was just I found it quite cathartic just to take the piss out of myself, because that was just the only constructive outlet I could think of at the time. And so I did that for a few months, and then when I got sentenced in July 2022, one of the reasons that kept me out of going back to prison was the judge liked that I was rehabilitating myself through stand-up.
Wow.
I thought that wasn't one he'd heard before.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, he kind of like laughed in the room. He was like, that's a new one.
Bit of like a...
That's crazy. Yeah. And then what? Like, so did you get a little bit of leniency?
Well, it was a combination of things. It was the fact that I'd already done 4 months locked up in maximum security during COVID, which was like considered harder jail time because you were locked in your cell a lot more. And then I was under kind of quasi custody when I was under house arrest. Then they took into account the fact that I had done like a lot of drug counselling and clean urine tests, and I had a job and I was doing comedy, because I have ADHD, they thought that was a reasonable excuse for all my crimes for so long as
Take notes.
There's a lot of people listening that are like, fuck yeah.
So all those things combined, that he didn't think there was much benefit in sending me back to prison. So I instead got given a corrections order, which means I'm essentially doing a prison sentence in the community right now. It was for 2.5 years, so it finishes in Christmas this year, and then from my understanding, I can go back to drug dealing.
Yeah, the second Boxing Day.
I think I'm sweet. I think they give me some of my drugs back. Is that a starter pack?
They've still got some left.
Here you go, mate. Go for it.
I assume that's how it works, yeah. That's what.
Yeah.
Pays a bit better than comedy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, absolutely. So far, yeah. So, yeah, I've been doing comedy since, and I went to Melbourne Comedy Festival last year with my debut show, which was called Jokes About the Time I Went to Prison. And
what was that about?
You're not going to believe this. And so I did that, and that went pretty well. People came to the show, and I got nominated for Best Newcomer at the festival. And
Fuck yeah.
off that, I've got the kind of the beginnings of hopefully a career in comedy, because now I get to tour around the country and do stand-up, and it's like my favourite thing in the world to do. So, yes, it's been a crazy little ride. But so when I started getting media coverage about me doing stand-up, I had a few people approach me and be like, you should write a book. And I had written at least 2/3 of a book when I was under house arrest, because I had like fuck all to do. And I'd read a book by Stephen King about writing books, just called On Writing. And he recommended just writing 1,000 words a day. So I did that for 70 days, and then I had 70,000 words.
How good's that?
Yeah.
Stephen King was notoriously fucked up on coke and drunk too, I think, when he wrote.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys that do that.
Yeah.
Artists particular.
Yeah.
I think Guy Ritchie, wrote Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels over the course of like 4 days or something like that.
fucking
Just
love
That is,
don't you?
I love Guy Ritchie, and I did read something about you when the Raptor squad burst in. Were you watching Wrath of Man?
Yeah, what?
So I read that. Did that ruin Guy Ritchie films for you at all? You got arrested watching Wrath of Man? Because I fucking love Guy Ritchie, and that would be like maybe taint it. Like at least taint Wrath of Man next time you went back
Every
to
time you
watch
put
it.
on your check in the door and shit.
Yeah.
As soon as I got out, I had to watch the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
I was like, what happened?
I need to know.
What happens to Jason Statham?
Yeah, he fucks everyone up. That's what happens. Yeah.
In a shocking turn of events.
Yeah, I fucking love Guy Ritchie movies. Yeah.
Yeah, they guess, especially through the door. I'm like, do you guys mind? I'm up to a good bit.
Yeah. It's just getting good. Fuck, that's crazy.
No, that's you're clearly a bit of a go-getter, mate. Like, you started the pizza shop. Was that before the drug dealing, or did you have enough money to come in, or was that strictly
It was
a
during
laundering
COVID
operation?
because I was ordering so many shit pizzas on Uber Eats, and I was like, I could do better than this. I had just this mountain of money piling up because I'd stopped gambling and was trying to sniff less coke. So the money started to pile up, and I was like, well, I need something to do with it. So I decided to open up a restaurant. Which was like a thin and crispy style pizza bar in King's Cross.
But this was a genuine attempt. It wasn't just a laundering option at the time.
No, it was. I really love pizza. I wanted it to be a successful operation, and it was good. It was getting rave reviews, and we had dog pizzas. We had like pizza, nutritionally.
I hate that.
We had pizzas for dogs.
Great for where you are, but I fucking hate that.
And all the gays at Potts Point, they have
I was
they
going
have
to
dogs.
say, it'd be like all around.
They don't have kids, they got dogs.
Right.
And they treat them like children, they spoil them. So
Yep.
we'd have people come in and spend like $80 on the human menu and $100 on the dog menu.
Unreal.
right?
The bride night.
Yeah.
We had a weekend in Rushcutters Bay, and I just started calling it Rushcutters Gay because it was just all these well-groomed,
Here we go.
handsome, like gay dudes. And I was like, and they were just all at breakfast together, all playing tennis. I was
Absolutely.
like,
And these guys have heaps of cash.
Heaps.
They used to be
Because
my
they got no
best
kids.
They used to be my best drug
That'd be
customers.
it.
and then pizza.
The most profitable day of the week of the year is Gay Christmas, is Mardi Gras. You know, you're just guys coming in and spending 10 grand without even blinking, not even
Unreal.
asking for a deal.
No.
The biggest tight asses are straight English dudes.
Yeah.
Right? They come over and they're so
Guilty.
used to buying like cheap cocaine over in the UK, and they come over and try to haggle with you for one bag of coke. But yeah, the gays, the absolute best customers ever. So
there you go. You heard it.
No
straight from the
homophobia
horse's
in the
mouth.
drug business.
Everyone's equal.
Kingpins love the gays.
Everyone's equal.
Absolutely. So I had the restaurant, and that was fun, and it was kind of growing. But then I got locked up, and so it kind of didn't survive through COVID and
With no one to run it.
wet weather. I had people running it, but it was just the getting. I don't know how anyone gets a restaurant off the ground without having millions to pump into it, all being criminals.
Yeah.
Because like the overheads in just getting a restaurant to run is so fucking insane. You have to run basically at a loss for a couple of years before it turns profitable.
A mate of mine's a chef, and he said like it's such a because it's a trade too, and he said people just don't understand. Like he can serve someone a steak, and like no one's willing to pay $200 for a steak. Like unless you know what I mean, it's a top shelf.
Yep.
But he
Unless
goes,
it's a gay
essentially,
guy.
like I've been cooking this thing all day, like to buy it, get it ready, like the cost that goes into making food, people just don't understand it, and they're not
Absolutely.
willing. What you would have to charge to, like you say, not run at a loss. It's
Yep.
crazy.
The margins are so paper thin. If you have a weekend where it's raining, you're fucked. That fucks your entire week because if people don't come in on the weekend, you're done.
And
That's your
like
whole
you say,
profit.
people are not willing to. They don't understand what it costs. They're not willing to spend more, fucking $20, $25 for a schnitzel or like.
Exactly, and they still give you a bad review on Google or something.
There's
like
some fucking assholes.
Yeah.
that. Fuckheads.
Anyone who goes out of the way to leave a bad review, I'll put a line through.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
That's why, it certainly opened my eyes to have a bit more compassion for people that are trying to run hospitality venues, because it's so hard to get everything right. And then you've got to have all these people. You might create the business, but then you've got to have people that are the day-to-day people running it.
Yeah, it's nuts. And then like wages, power, like gas, electricity, rent.
And even the power struggles between like the fucking kitchen and the front of house. I think these fucking people out the front are just being lazy pricks, and sometimes they are. And, and the kitchen's just full of these psychos that
Yeah.
smoke weed just to mellow out.
Coked out chefs.
Yeah,
Fuck.
it's just you're managing these crazy relationships most of the time, let alone just trying to focus on marketing and product and all this kind of stuff. So I'd like to imagine a world where I got back into the pizza game one day, but I can't. It's so draining.
More draining than dealing drugs.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It was a breeze.
You're gonna try and sell them. Drugs sell
That's
themselves.
just pizza too. Like you're doing good pizza, but that's not like a high end or like you're just doing pizzas. And
Yeah, you got to fling a lot of them.
Yeah, you're gonna get rid of a lot of pizza.
Yeah.
I think you'll like this, Blue. You had a good rule about your pepperoni pizzas, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. How did you hear
Is it
about
ratio?
that?
I studied, mate.
We do
I
our
studied.
research, mate. There's a ratio, wasn't there? Was there like a strict
I had a
ratio?
pep coverage rule. Yeah, it had to have at least 23 slices of pepperoni on the pizza.
Gone,
Respect, man.
eh?
Because my biggest pet peeve was when you order a pepperoni and like you get a slice and it's only got like one slice of pepperoni on
Like
it.
purse, yeah.
Yeah, you're like, that's just tight ass.
What's the point?
Yeah.
What
am I doing here?
Pizza? Yeah.
Yeah, so I tried to instill in the team the philosophy: make every pizza like you're making it for your best mate.
Love
And
that.
so- That's a
really
philosophy.
friendly slogan,
That's fucking
too.
awesome.
That's nice.
I was a friendly neighborhood
You
pizza
lace
guy
it?
and drug dealer.
You
That's
spit on it. Me and my best mates fuck around all the time.
You put the penis and be mushrooms on it.
Farting on the pizzas.
See, and I brought that philosophy to drug dealing as well, and that's what people like, a lot of the cops don't understand. I didn't appreciate that they took out one of the good guys.
Yeah.
I still get messages now from people like, "We fucking miss you, man. I can't get fucking good gear anymore."
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Tell the cops, dude.
Full bags.
Let them know."
That was one of Will Ferrell's great quotes. Not like a mean drug dealer, like a nice drug dealer. Like, hey guys, you want some crack? He's a nice drug dealer. He's one of the nice ones.
It does exist.
Yeah, 100%.
Did you ever have to encounter any shady characters on your journey of
I mean, like just your regular, like friendly, sketchy people. Not really like violent, sketchy. I never had any kind of violent dramas in 15 years of drug dealing. I just had, a couple of weirdos come over that were just too drunk or too loud and just being like, fucking, don't come back again.
It's part of the game, isn't it?
Yeah, well, because it had to be referral. Someone had to refer someone before they could come in, because couldn't just text me out of the blue and be like, hey, I'm Dave, I got your number off a toilet fucking off a cubicle wall.
Great marketing also, but in your own pizza shop.
So if someone was a weirdo, I'd message their mate and be like, hey, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just reference check.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like the real world, really.
Yeah.
It's the exact same. How good.
Would have been bloody good to have around at parties, mate. Everything you were dealing around.
Well, I was very popular when I was a drug dealer. Then suddenly, suddenly the phone stops ringing when you get out of jail.
Is that
Same.
kind of eye-opening?
It's fickle.
Yeah.
Or did you kind of know where you stood, do you think?
I mean, look, it goes both ways. There are people that you think will be there and they don't turn up and it sucks. But then there's people that you never in a million years reckon that they would back you and be there, and they turn up.
That's awesome.
So cool, yeah.
So people always focus on the negative side of it, but I reckon that there's a positive side to it as well.
Have you had
So it just clarifies things, you know?
Yeah, it makes it clear.
Yeah,
Fucking
yeah,
hell.
yeah.
Everyone needs to go to
Have
jail.
many come out of the woodwork since the comedy career started popping off? Have you had a few like that maybe sort of bailed on you, reach out and be like, mate, you're killing it?
Yeah, I have had
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I had a couple of those guys like, oh, we should catch up. I'm like, oh, no, I think I'm good, eh?
Just so you know, I don't sell drugs anymore too.
Last message was, you on?
4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Yeah, wild ride. Very wild ride. Did you... I was interested because a lot of... Like, I see your socials have gone berserk.
Yeah.
And I love the manpower stuff you're doing. The kind of like the...
the
inspirational quotes.
The fake alpha pod.
I love it.
Yeah, thank you. So that started because I just see so many of these influencers online putting up videos just talking absolute nothing.
Rank.
Right? And talk about like just really advice that was so hollow, like keeping your circle small and like everyone's talking about leveling up.
Yeah.
And so
Leveling up.
sucks.
The original idea I had was because I just heard people talking about keeping your circle small. I was like, oh no, that's an old mentality. These days you got to keep your triangle medium.
Yeah.
And so that's where it started. I shot that video with my mate Alex Milinkovic, who's a brilliant comic, and we just sat opposite each other in a pod studio and just recorded we wrote a bunch of clips for it and recorded it. And yeah, some of them now have gotten like nearly 35 million views.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
The Musk one, right? People love that one.
Exactly.
Have
the
you seen
outsourcing
this?
one.
Yeah.
Where I
When you outsource someone to fuck your wife? Is that
that's exactly right. So Musk doesn't cook, and Bezos isn't mowing his own lawn. And these guys outsource, so I outsource as well. I have a guy that comes in to sleep with my wife because I'm too busy growing revenue. And so I get DMs.
Makes sense to me.
And the reason it went viral is because like most people got it, but then there's like about like 25% of people that thought it was real, and they get outraged, and then they argue with everyone else, and that just is like liquid crack for the
algorithm. Oh, mate.
I'd get all these DMs from people like, how could you let someone dishonor your wife, sir? You are a coward.
Yeah. You're like, saves time. I don't know what to say. I don't have time to pleasure it.
And there's people that actually get off on this, mate. Message that.
So there's a lot of angry Arab and African men out there who think that that this is real. So come on, guys. Read the name, Andrew Hamilton Comedy.
Yeah, true.
Another thing I loved about that was there was one where you just had the nose tape on. Like it's the details, because that's fucking like, because then my algorithm gives me, I don't know, my algorithm sucks. Like I get those guys that have been fair income with that, and I'm like, oh no, I see you guys doing it. I'm like, yes, this is stupid. It's all very stupid.
The cool thing is that a lot of those guys that we are parodying, quite a few of them follow me now and
awesome.
share the videos because they
they think you're being legit.
No, they get the joke.
No,
They're savvy enough that like they get the joke,
and they're happy to be.
So they like it because like they can see me like. I think they can see sometimes their material reflected back at them because I'll get the joke idea from them.
100%.
You know,
it pretty much writes itself. Like a lot of that stuff. It's they're fun to laugh at.
Exactly. All I need to do is just scroll through a couple of hours of videos of these real guys, and I go, right, okay, we can just. What's the insane take on that? How do I flip that, or how do I take that idea and accelerate it by 1,000%? And then what does that look like?
There's some units.
Easy.
There's some units. How are you like with social media? Like, were you big on it for the restaurant or anything?
Not really, but my background was in public relations and communications. So I used to advise companies in how to get in the media, or if they were in trouble, how to get out of the media, trying to crisis management comms. So I guess I did have a background in that kind of stuff, which has probably helped me with my stand-up. And I guess that's probably helped me with my social media as well, in terms of just treating it like a job and just thinking about ways to convey an idea in the best way that's funny on socials, because it's like there's two different disciplines, like between the stand-up and the social piece, but they're both pretty important these days if you want to succeed, if you want to get people to turn up to your show.
They're pretty intertwined, especially with what you guys do.
Yeah.
Like it's a great way. I mean, we've seen heaps of guys do it. Like you build that audience and then leverage it for whatever you're doing. But I mean, stand-up's perfect.
I mean, the last thing you want to do if you want to be a stand-up is kill it in the social stuff, but not work on your stand-up so that people come to your show and
when
then
they get there.
Yeah, exactly. But so I see it both ways. I've seen guys who are amazing stand-ups that don't have a social presence, and then they have amazing hours, but no one comes. Or there's guys who kill it on social media. They don't put in the work on the stand-up, so heaps of people come, and then they leave going, that was dog shit. So I'd rather be
one good show.
I'd rather be somewhere in the middle, or I'm just okay at both.
Yeah.
Look, so many comedians seem to have this like hatred towards social media.
Yeah.
But is it fair enough to say it's a game you have to play?
It's only because they can't do it themselves. They haven't figured out how to do it themselves.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's just a jealousy thing. I think
agree.
a lot of them they're afraid to do it because they don't want to look like a fool on the internet, but they forget that that's how they started doing stand-up, right? You start by looking like an idiot and you work on it. You've got to essentially you have to just get rid of that fear of bombing online.
Yeah.
Because it is terrifying to just put stuff out there and you don't know if anyone's going to like it.
Yeah.
When I first started doing things for social media, I spent like 4-6 hours on a piece of content that then just like absolutely bombed, and I thought it was funny.
Oh, mate.
And then I'll spend like 20 minutes on something dumb, which I think is funny, and it got 1 million views.
That's the story of the page that I run's Daily Blue News, and that's like just Newcastle's Batuta Advocate.
Yeah.
Like that's a fair rap. It's not that big, but like I would sit there and like slave and like craft away what I thought was a really witty and funny article, and you post it and it stank and just completely bombed.
Yeah.
And then you just do something stupid about boobs or like making fun of chicks, and it just goes nuts.
The low-hanging fruit.
But and everyone loves it. And I'm like, why do I even? Let's just do that. Like,
but that's the thing.
But then I don't get the satisfaction.
I don't think that matters. I think the only metric I try to do is, do I think it's funny?
Yeah, you got to do what you like.
If I think it's funny, then that's all that matters. And sometimes people will agree.
Yeah.
But I think that's the only way you'll get the big ones is by keeping true to yourself by that.
100%. And also like just the skill of writing, because like you just like practice and practice and practice.
Exactly.
But
you're not going to get those fucking huge hits unless
the dopamine. I want it so bad.
I like to also blame sometimes, it's not you or me or our ideas, it's just the algorithm.
The algorithm.
Blame it on that.
It's the ultimate fallback. The fucking
it's
algorithm.
Like playing the pokies, dude. You just throw shit at the wall, and every now and then you fucking hit the bullseye.
Next win's very close. Next win's very, very close.
Because the two most viral videos that I've done with Alex of that Alpha series were like in the first 4 or 5 ones that I posted up. Right? It was one about revenge where I said, a lot of people say the best revenge is success, but I think the best revenge is stalking someone and running them down with your car. Right? But that's pretty good. That's more satisfying than success. So that got like 25 million views, and so but those ones were like in the first 5 that I put up, and now we're just like constantly chasing the dragon. We haven't got close again.
No.
And I'm like, is it me or is it the it's fucking Instagram, man? It's fucking Meta.
Yeah, I had
changing shit.
I had a theory because we had one that got like millions of views.
Yeah,
and then
it was early days as well.
And it was early days, so I had a theory like they give you one. To keep you fucking, because then I go like every kind of content creator that I sort of follow, I look at their pin, and then everyone pins it because you get millions
Look
of
at
views.
me.
You're like, look what I did, like exactly like I did.
Of course, you have to pin it.
100%, it's pinned.
It's a million.
Yeah, and then I've had a look and like everyone's got one just about that's in the millions. I was like, maybe they give you 1 or 2 to keep you fucking getting horny.
It is like the pokies then, because I always have that theory, like when you first start playing the pokies, like the pokies can sense.
They somehow know that you're new,
and they give you a good win.
They can smell fear too. If you're my mates, like they can. If you hesitate on a gamble, they're like they can smell fear.
Yeah, right, 100%. Or like you press black and it doesn't register. You're like, take win.
Yeah.
So it is. It's modern gambling. All right.
Yeah, we can take that.
The fame lottery. Gabe, let me paint a little picture for you.
I'm ready.
All right. Now, for this, you're going to need to pretend. Just take it back to like when you were single before you met your beautiful partner.
Okay.
All right. You walk out of a nightclub. You're shit faced.
Blind?
Blind.
Okay.
Like fucking blind. Kebab shop, you get your order, you spin round, you see at the door, without being too piggish, a 3 out of 10.
But I'm raring to go.
You are on a huge dry spell, right?
Yeah, okay.
And there's a 3
Beer
there.
goggles are on. She's
And-
probably looking like a 7 or 8.
Yeah, but she's not. She ain't. I just got to be clear on that. So the prospect of doing this and the ramifications of it may seem at the time daunting.
I want to approach, but I'm nervous.
Yeah,
I need a boost in the right direction.
It's a big decision. You've got that mate there. You got a mate there, and he puts his arm around your shoulder and he goes, "Bro, you can do this.
Let
You're
me
on a-
show you the way."
I will show you how to get this done. You're on a huge dry spell. You have to get this done." Not too dissimilar to our mate Phil and the team at PK Mortgages. Instead of big girls, we're talking homes, home loans, mortgages. Not just home loans too, car finance, investment properties, business loans.
Tools, forward drives,
Anything
jet
you
skis.
need, Phil from PK Mortgages is the man to speak to. Very close friend of the show. Becoming a close friend.
I love him.
Great guy.
Love you, Phil.
Love strong. Love strong.
I'm an emotional guy, man.
I like Phil a lot. Oh, I love him. Fuck it. Fuck it. I love Phil. I love Phil. If you want to love Phil too, get on to Phil from PK Mortgages on 0420 660 804, or you can head on over to pkmortgages.com.au. That is P for Turkish pita, like at those kebab shops we were just talking about.
Nice.
K for, what's K for? this
Kilos.
week? Kilos. Lots of them. mortgages.com.au. The link is in our show notes. And Phil, I believe... Nah, nothing. I got nothing.
Let him know that we sent you, and to make this clear, he will not guide you to sleep with a fat chick, but he will guide you to get a house at the best loan possible.
That is what I was angling at.
There we go.
There we go. Gabe, do you know what I love very, very, very much after a long day at work?
Kebab?
No. We're not on kebabs anymore.
A beer?
No.
What do you love?
I love not having to fucking think what I'm having for dinner.
Yes.
Bro, I've been using, I mean, my brain, let's be fair to income, is not that big, but I have been using it all day. The last thing I want to do is come home from work fucked from just getting jerked around by bricklayers and the likes and having to think about what I'm having for my fucking dinner.
Nothing's worse. What are we having for dinner? I don't know.
I don't know. Well, guess what? I do know because I've got a fridge full of pub macros.
Full of steak, full of chicken,
Literally.
rice, veggies.
Oh my God.
The lot.
It's the best. You don't have to, that's the best. Like, not only that, you don't have to fucking clean anything. It's like, bang, out of the fridge, into the microwave, one plate, one fork, maybe a knife if I'm feeling fancy.
Jesus.
It's the best.
And it's got to be bad for you if it's coming out like that.
Wrong. You know how long they've been on board with the show for. You know they're fucking good for you, bro.
I was teeing you up.
I know you were. They're delicious, nutritious, chef prepared, locally sourced ingredients. I was on the phone to Marco from Pub Macros the other day. He's going to get us to go down and see the warehouse.
Let's go.
See where the fucking magic happens. I can't wait. Guys, if you can't wait too, you want to be part of this magic. You don't want to think, you don't want to use your brain at the end of the day to fucking think about what you're going to be eating. Puffmacros.com.au, big time supporter of this show. You get 10% off when you use code DailyBlue. What is it, Gabe?
Capital D, capital B.
It's all one fucking word. You guys know the deal by now. You get 10% off. We get a juicy little kickback too. Everyone wins. Yeah, Puff Macros. We fucking love you guys. Gabe, look forward. What am I drinking my piping hot coffee from?
Sweet, sweet Soulcat Designs Keep Cup.
We are deep in the middle of Keep Cup season, bean season. This thing's getting proper pizzling like every day of the week.
And it's actually holding its own. Like, considering you taking that on site, that looks pretty schmick still.
Yeah, the top, not
Like,
so much.
Yeah, but fucking hell.
That's no fault of Soulcats.
Nah.
That's purely
Grit.
That's me.
That's hard work.
That's fucking blue all over the top of that.
Chill.
Whoa.
Guys, if you want your very own Keep Cup or some glassware or a big stainless steel water bottle to keep you hydrated, you can head to soulcatdesigns.com.
They are an Australian owned and operated business. Very, very good friend of the show also. And we fucking love the guys. Yeah, you know the deal. Links in the show notes. You get 10% off with code DailyBlue. All one word. Gabe, what is it?
Capital D, capital B.
Thank you very much, mate. Yeah, Soulcat Designs. We fucking love you.
What I want to say on you saying you got to do what you think is funny. I think, of course, you have to do that because you want to be targeting your demographic.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You want people like you to be enjoying your stuff. That's kind of the whole reason, I think.
Yep.
Finding like-minded people.
Totally. Last year when I did the Melbourne Comedy Festival was very different to me doing it this year because last year it was people that didn't know me. They just they liked the name of the show, or they were just taking a punt because in Melbourne they support the arts. They'll just go to see a show, right? Which is much different to Sydney. Whereas like if you're doing a show in a pub and like there's some guy having a beer and you're like, hey man, you want to come see a comedy show? They'd be like, fuck off. Dickhead. What? Yeah. Don't fucking talk to me. Don't look at me, you know? But in Melbourne, they're like, oh, that sounds awesome, man. Yeah. So last year, it was people that were just taking a punt, whereas this year, it was people that had sought me out. And so it was a very different experience playing to your own audience.
That's
because
great.
like I'm talking about getting cocaine blown up my ass with a straw and like all kinds of stuff, and like when it's degenerates who like have experience in this kind of stuff and they know a bit about alcoholism and drug addiction and all this kind of stuff, then suddenly the jokes are fucking hitting harder. You know, then someone can still find my jokes funny, but if they've lived some of this stuff, it hits on a different level.
It's a bit of lived experience. Yeah, 100%.
So that's why I found that an audience that I've had come into a lot of my shows is like people involved with the criminal justice system. I have a lot of cops, prison officers, criminal lawyers, and crims, like either ex-crims or current crims. And so I had one
Asking you for your plug.
I had one show in Adelaide where I had on the way out, one guy walked past me and was like, "Great show, mate. I'm a local cop." And then 5 people later, guy walks past and he goes, "Great show, mate. I'm local HA, Hells Angels."
Yeah,
and so,
wow.
So what a mix of people I'm bringing to comedy.
You bring people together.
In the same room until they recognise each other. Like,
Like each other abuse.
You're that fucking dog that fucking looked me up, you know? So, but that's cool. I'm really enjoying that because
That's fucking very unique. That's sick.
I did a corporate gig on Thursday night for New South Wales Legal Aid. It was like 200 criminal lawyers in a room. And so like, it was just funny that like they chose, of all the comedians they could ask, they chose me because it was relatable humor.
I was going to say, did they know obviously about your background? Whoever booked you must have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they wanted me to just talk about getting arrested and my experience through the criminal justice system and court and prison and they found it very relatable. And so the jokes fucking hit about as hard as they ever could.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, that's really, really cool. Fuck yeah. How you guys are doing a live show tonight as well, Flog Cabin, live at the Newcastle Comedy Club?
Yeah.
This will be, actually, this is not coming out till next
not
Friday, but we were just talking about live podcasts before. So
Yes.
have you guys done a live show yet?
We've only done one before, and it was also at the Newcastle Comedy Club
Awesome.
Great spot.
a few months ago. And yeah, I think as we were talking about before we started recording, that it's a different beast between just recording a pod like this and suddenly when you've got people just sitting in an audience and staring at you.
It's a
Right?
weird thing to do when you think about it.
It is. You've got to try and think about ways to make it a little bit more interactive. Yeah. So last time we had,
I think they did something similar to us.
We had a stupid taste test challenge between a Jats and a Ritz.
Oh my god! So I do. So on this podcast every week we do the Daily Blues Chews.
Yeah.
And I just have something to eat through the week and I rate it.
Yeah.
And at the live show we had these biscuits that had been hotly debated in the group and they were actually Jats Tim Tams.
Oh,
and
wow.
I handed them out to everyone and let everyone rate them live on the show.
Are they any good?
They're all right. I'm a diehard double coat Tim Tam man. So
That's a real good one.
Obviously,
A
But
few
then
people rang in saying Jats is up there. We said, right, we got to put it to the
we've got
test.
to put it to the test. But yeah, we were just doing a lot weird stuff at our live show as well. And same thing. I realised about 40 seconds in, I was like, fuck, I'm just going to have to talk to these two cunts in the front row pretty heavily.
Yeah.
Because it's a weird one.
My old man keeps buying the dark Tim Tams because I think they must be on special every fucking week.
Yeah.
No one wants them.
The dark one's the white chocolate. There's a mint one as well.
I think my family's convinced that they're like the healthier option of the Tim Tams.
They do
because
say
it's dark chocolate.
Brain food, they reckon.
Yeah.
It's
Not
chocolate, mate.
What a load of shit. Man.
Antioxidants in the fucking dark Tim Tams.
All right, well, it's good to know. It's such an Australian thing. We're going to have a fucking biscuit challenge. That'll be good. That'll be good content.
100%.
Well, I used to be a champion beer sculler, so I thought if there's someone in the audience today, I'll have a beer scull off against
fancies
them.
himself.
Yeah, I'll have $100 cash prize for anyone who can beat me.
We might have to go.
I can't skull. I'm awful. I can drink, but I can't
Can't
skull. Nah.
Yeah, I can't open my throat. I'm a very quick gulper.
Yeah.
Is that the word? Yeah.
So the guys who can open their throat and just
Like guys that can do like a
falls
whole
down.
jug in 2 seconds.
Yeah,
That's
you're going to be
crazy.
down $100, mate. There's going to be one of them at your show. You know it for sure.
If there's anyone Irish that puts a hand up, I'm usually wary of the Irish. Like I used to know this guy who could scull a pint in like 2 seconds flat with no hands. He would just pick it up by his
With his
teeth.
teeth.
Yeah, just go
Fuck.
teeth it and just flip the glass up and just like, and you're like, what is? That's impressive.
How did you figure that out?
Yeah, yeah. That's with all those hidden talents, right? Like swallowing a sword and shit like that.
Yeah.
You're like, what was the first time?
Did you try and kill yourself?
Yeah. I'm gonna the Irish drinkers, I always thought it was just a stereotype that didn't have much to it. I lived there. I went over to play footy there for a year. Fuck me dead.
Where were you living in Ireland?
In Cork.
Oh,
so down
cool.
set,
Yeah.
like amazing, like great people. But over Christmas time, all their mates who are working away in say like London or New York, they all come home for a couple of weeks over Chrissy and it's on. And fucking hell, man, like they love it.
They don't fuck about.
They love it. And it's it's every day. And I was like, I tapped out about sort of 4 or 5 days in. I was like, I need to come. They're like, is everything all right?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'm sweet. I'm just sick of drinking. They're like, you homesick? Like, what's going on? Mad, mate. Like, completely mad.
Well, every Irish comedian that I know of, like, they're all just famous drinkers. You know, they just love a beer.
They love the piss.
That's
Fucking love the piss.
I found since starting comedy, I put on like 20 kilos, like because I lost all this weight from training when I was under house arrest, and then I started doing comedy. And because I had so many nerves, I'd have like a couple of beers just to calm the nerves, and then if it went well, I'd have a few beers after.
Celebrate.
And if it went badly, I'd have a few beers to commiserate.
100%.
And then I'd have Macca's on the way home. And what I noticed is that as I got better at comedy, most of the rooms you go to, a lot of the beers are free. And so
No chance.
I'm finding that if I'm going to places 4 or 5 nights a week and I'm having free beers, suddenly I put on the kegs very quickly.
The life of a stand-up comic doesn't lend itself to a super like healthy.
Not at all.
You're up late. You're drinking piss all the time. You're sleeping in. Like it'd be hard to like maintain any kind of fitness.
And I'm having a
fucking
nervous
routine.
breakdown before I get on stage.
Yeah, and
for
just the
fucking
waves
routine.
and
Stress, man. The
endorphins,
fucking
like-
cortisol and the stress would just be
Yeah.
like, oh fuck, this sucks. Like,
Yeah.
it's wild, man. I tried like a couple of years ago. I went to an open mic at the Newcastle Comedy Club and like really enjoyed it and like went terribly. But then it was on late and I have a scaffolder, so I'm up at like fucking 5 in the morning and these open mics didn't kick off till like 8:30.
Yeah,
I'm in
hard.
bed at fucking 8:30. I was
right.
like, I can't. Yeah, that was why I quit. I could have been very successful.
How can I be
I
enthusiastic?
could have been anything, but yeah, it's just like it's just that different lifestyle. And you
It
hear
is.
about the guys in New York; they're doing sets at like 2 in the morning, and then going home at like 5 and sleeping till 2 in the arvo and get up. It's fucking wild.
And that's for like a bucket pool open mic with like no audience.
Yeah.
You know, it's just crazy.
it's crazy, man. But it's like it's a I suppose like it's if you can make it work, it's a pretty sick lifestyle too.
I'm looking forward. I'm hopefully going to go to the States next year. I want to do Edinburgh and the States because my biggest following on socials is the US.
Sick.
Yeah.
So we're in the middle of chatting with an immigration lawyer now. Obviously, it's a bit more work because
Be
of my
different for you.
criminal record.
yeah.
People always get in my ear. They're like, you can just lie on the Esther. You can just get in. And I'm like, yeah, but the problem is I'm going to be on stage every night saying I just got out of prison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like that's.
They're just jokes.
You
I'm just
know?
mucking around.
So I'm like, I need to do it the right way. So it's a lengthy process. It takes about 6 months. We're starting it now, so hopefully I'll be able to get in next year.
Spaniard made his way there, so you should be right, mate.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
Yeah, it's just the thing. I think if you can prove you're bringing something different, like your unique talent or
that's
whatever
right.
it is.
There is loopholes if you have a good rehabilitation narrative and you are adding value. You're right, absolutely. So
You'll be fine.
That's what we're doing. But yeah, Spanion is our Lord and Savior of the crime influence. I call them crimfluencers.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
Mad.
He is our king crimfluencer. So yeah, if he can do it, any of us can.
He's killing it. He's fucking big, man. He just went to Brazil and he went to like some crack down in Brazil. I was like, okay, that's probably not.
Yeah.
I don't know, that's not what I'd be doing, but he's fucking he's killing it. You're talking before about your like fitness regimen. I don't know how much you can talk about it, but I was listening to last episode of Flog Cabin. You're talking about a boxing fight.
Yeah.
A bit of boxing. Well, we just fought. We just fought at the Alpha Blokes had the podcast Royale earlier this year where Jarchi got knocked out,
Yep.
and we fought at that, which was
Tag
like
team match.
we tag
Got a
teamed
win.
it. We fought like
You got
two
a
other
win.
dudes.
Yeah.
We won.
Congratulations.
It was
Thank you.
wild. But no, you had one amateur. Have you had a fight?
I've had one amateur fight. I did like a corporate fighter program.
Yeah, cool. Yep.
Where you train for like 12 weeks and then you get matched up whoever they think will be a fair fight and you have like all your friends and family come along and it was at the Hilton in front of about 500 people.
Sick.
and it was great. I trained for like 12, 13 weeks, and I was like in the best shape of my life.
Yeah.
Didn't you get sent on like a crazy quest to find the perfect trainer for you?
I did. I got referred to Dexter the Dingo.
Yes.
Who has a Guinness? I don't know if he still has it, but he did for a while have the Guinness World Record as the oldest professional boxer in the world, and he's an Aussie guy.
That's great.
And he's an absolute legend of a man. But he introduced me to the guy who became my trainer, Istvan Soliom, who's a Hungarian boxing champion who still trains. I should give him a call because he was training me until I cancelled. I stopped training with him about a year ago when I had to tour a lot for comedy, but then I've gotten fatter and fatter since I stopped training.
Yeah, ever since our fight, I haven't been back, mate.
That's like our poor old boxing
I
coach.
loved when I was doing it.
So many people, and you guys were selling might be the same, where you're really good when you have a deadline, right? Particularly a fight, it's like there's no like. You got to be ready.
Mate.
The fear of getting either knocked out or humiliated in front of all those people.
You mean like Jarchi?
Yeah. Oh, mate. We were there. We were boozing because we fought early, and I watched. I was like, "Holy fuck, that was
And
bad."
he was holding his own, and then he's got bagged.
Yeah.
But that fear of humiliation and defeat is such a good motivator
Was
to
no
make
one
you
wearing
train.
headgear for that?
We did.
We did because the boys that we fought, we were umming and ahhing, and we got the promoter was all over the shop. But it was really well run. But the promoter told us you didn't have to, but then you had to, and then the guys that we were fighting wanted to, so we did. But then other blokes didn't. Like it was.
We started training without headgear because I was like, I've got to get this off. If we're not going to wear it, fucking. I got a few flashes once I took it off, but once you know you can take a punch,
you get your peripheries back a bit too. Like it was.
What were the gloves? 16 or 12 ounce?
We
12.
trained in 16s and we fought in 14s.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So you notice it a little bit more like once you're out there, but
Yeah,
all the
I think
adrenaline
when
on
I
that
had
too.
my fight, it was 12-ounce ones, and you suddenly feel it.
Oh fuck yeah!
You feel it.
Oh,
You're like,
fuck
oh,
yeah.
I feel like I'm getting punched in the face with a bare knuckle waist stage.
Yeah, they were a bit. I remember we put them on like before we went out, and I was like, these are definitely thinner. And that was only from 16s to 14s. I was
Yeah.
like, these are definitely
It
thinner.
seems crazy. Like you got a couple of ounces of like padding,
Yeah.
and that's like makes a huge difference in how your face feels
Fucking
getting
own.
punched in the head.
The
with a
US,
glove.
what do they wear in the UFC? Like 4 ounces or 3?
Yeah, something
It's like a sheet of A4
Bandage,
paper.
mate.
What is that?
Fuck,
a couple
man.
band-aids over the knuckles.
Yeah,
they do the
wild.
bare knuckle fights now too. Have you seen them?
Yeah, that's terrifying.
That's disgusting, bro.
Yeah, that's next for us,
You'd be
mate.
leaving with broken hands.
I'm going to do a podcast, a bare knuckle fucking event.
We can put that on. I'll commentate.
Yeah. Go to promotions.
But yeah, when you have a deadline like a fight, you just you something in your brain is like, okay, we can't fuck about.
Yeah.
We got to get this done. But
Yeah.
then as soon as it's over, you're like, oh.
Well, we told our trainer, was like, I was like, I'm going to keep training. Like, this is great. You're in great shape, like you say, and you feel really good. And then you win, and then you have a few weekends on the piss, and then you're like, I don't need to train.
I need to go get punched.
Yeah, I don't need to
after
go
I'm
get
knocked
punched.
off.
And then a few of the guys that we would spar in the lead up, I think, so we've been training we did a good like sort of 14 weeks or so, maybe a little bit more. And
Pretty much, yeah.
a few of the guys that
Start
we were
of the year.
sparring were coming off like layoffs and stuff. They weren't in great shape and we were really fit. So we dished out a couple of touch-ups.
Yeah.
And then I went back after the fight and I was in really bad shape and these guys were really fit and I got whooped a couple of times. I think that put me off as well. One bloke in particular gave me a good touch-up and I was like, yeah, I don't need to be.
Humbled you.
Yeah. I didn't need bashing.
I sparred. There's a guy I was sparring against at my local gym like would have been about a year and a half ago, and I accidentally broke one of his ribs.
Oh, fuck.
And he's like so much bigger than me as
Yeah.
well. And so I was
satisfying,
like
actually.
waiting for him to come back, like for the comeuppance. Yeah,
Oh, no, we're fine, mate. I don't care.
yeah.
He just
It's
gets
all
in there.
straight, man. It's all just part of sparring. And in his head, he's like, "You're fucking
You're
dead."
Nah, it's just the game, mate. It's all good. Yeah, no, there was definitely a few times we'd spar guys and they'd jab you or they'd go what you thought was a little bit harder. Nah, it's sweet, mate. It's all good. Next time you got in there, I'm going to fucking belt this bloke.
That's the thing that happens with sparring, right? Because like it's just like the smallest escalation. You know, you're at the same level, and then one guy gives you a cheeky one, so you're like, okay, I've got to match that.
Yeah.
And then they go, then they think you've dogged them, so then they go up a little bit, but then you're having a full on blue.
We did it.
Happened heaps.
And then we sort of had a rule. It was like Wednesday would be our let's kill each other, and then Friday we'll just try and like touch each other and a bit more technique. But then inevitably the Friday one, someone to get someone a bit hard, and then you just be teeing off on each other again. It was It was very
Or
good
you
fun.
accidentally throw one too
Yeah.
hard. Like sometimes that happens too.
Someone rolls into one. Like, yeah.
Or-
When I was training to do the corporate fighter program, I had kind of outside training as well with Istvan, and he had a guy who he'd trained for years, have a real fight with me every Friday morning at like 7 in the morning. And the first
Happy Friday.
and the first one, he absolutely beat the shit out of me so bad. I was pissing blood out of fucking my nose. And I'm like, this was the worst thing that's ever happened to me. And he was like, you did well. You'll be better next week. And like, so I was so glad I did that, because by the time I had the real fight, I was in a better position to handle it.
Definitely.
That was the big thing. You just used to get because your body just panics. It's just getting used to getting fucking belted.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. When you're getting punched in the face, it's such a weird feeling. To then you just want to like protect yourself.
Yeah.
But then you can't see shit.
Yeah,
You just got to
you just
wear
keep
more.
getting punched.
Yeah.
But it's just getting used to like getting hit, and it's exhausting getting hit too. You like get bashed. I remember we'd finish a few, and I was like, I didn't throw any punches, and I'd be like on the ground gasping, and all I did was get punched.
Yeah.
I'm like, why am I so fucked? I didn't do anything. It's very, very tough work getting punched in the head.
I remember at the end of the first round when I had the actual fight at the Hilton, my corner man was like, "You fucking smashed him. Just keep doing that." I'm like, I can't. I'm done.
Oh no, I'm tired now.
This was one round fight, yeah?
Yeah, we were super lucky. So ours was 4 rounds, but it was a tag team. So you could tag out whenever you wanted. We didn't. We just stayed in. We did a round on, round off. The boys we fought were
Still,
tagging.
round on, round off sounds pretty good to me.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was unreal because and were they 2s or 3s? I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But you do a round and then you'd be fucked, and you had a whole round to recover, which was unreal. The boys we fought kept tagging in and out, which ended up being worse for them because they were fucked, and then they'd tag, and it was really good. There was 5,000 where we fought. It was at the Gold Coast Convention Centre.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
First fight ever.
Yeah,
Sick.
Potentially last.
Can I ask you about, you said you fell in love with mushies in Thailand.
Yep.
How did that come about? Did you plan to get on the mushrooms there? Was it a crazy trip, or was it more of like a relaxing experience?
It wasn't a relaxing trip. It was like 20 boys from high school.
Bit R&R with the fellas.
We took the penis empty.
Just like, some mud baths and some like facial rejuvenation.
Just taking care of yourselves.
Just some R&R boys, yeah. So we went to Copenhagen for a full moon party. So we were going to fucking have a crack. But then we went to some bar the night before the full moon party when it was really quiet around town. And this local guy, this from like Sweden or something, named Eric, was like, "You got to come to Mushroom Mountain." And so we're like, "Lead the way."
Once or twice, but who's counting?
So he took us to Mushroom Mountain, which was like on the side of the mountain.
So is this a metaphor or a place?
It's a real place.
I thought it was like, it's
a real
Mushroom
place.
Mountain.
It's a bar. I don't think it exists anymore, but it was at Copenhagen on the beach on the far well, if you're looking at the water, it'd be the far left, and you had to go up this like sketchy kind of rock ledge steps to get up to this bar, which had like this huge wooden platform, and we were like the only ones there. And Eric, this local dude, he organised us this mushroom shake, so it was 4 of us, and it was one between 2 of us, and so I'm like, hold on, I want a proper mushroom shake.
I'm thirsty.
Oh my God. I ordered one in the book.
And he's like, nah, man, he's like, trust me, dude, have half. It's going to be plenty. And so we had it, and at first, you're like, oh, this is not really working. And then I went for a piss, and then as I'm pissing, my dick started yelling at me, and I was like, I think the mushrooms are working.
Damn, these are, yeah, okay. Yeah.
What was it yelling? Did it have a face?
Like, what are we doing? Where are we? Like, and I'm like,
you always do this, man. What are you talking about?
My dick can talk.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, yeah, I think the drugs are working.
Oh,
and
the drugs, that's right, yeah.
So I went back, and my other 2 mates who had had the mushroom shakes had just disappeared. It was just my mate Ben, and we sat down, and I'm there going like, this is fucking hectic. and he's like,
and your cock yells it back at you.
And he's like, why are you yelling? We're the only ones here. And I'm like, oh my, I don't know. There was no one else there. And so I'm holding on to like the wooden post of the bar just to hold on to like earth.
Yeah, just to not fucking fly off.
I had, when you see movies and there's like that, they have like a psychedelic trip and there's all the kaleidoscopic kind of like just flowers bursting out of your eyes. That's really what happened.
Wow.
And I was like, holy fuck. And so I don't know how long we were there for, but I always said to people, like, if anyone had tried to rob me at that point, I would have just been like, take my wallet. Just get out of my fucking mushroom adventure.
Yeah.
I just need to be focusing on this right now. So they eventually wore off, and we walked back
After a
down.
long time, right? Mushrooms
Must have
last
been,
a while.
it must have been hours. I have no concept of
Yeah,
time. All
well,
I know
yeah.
is that the sun was rising by the time we went back down Mushroom Mountain and sat on the beach. And then my other
Returned.
two mates who had had the shakes with us, they suddenly emerged and came down the mountain, and they were running away from each other. Like, get away from him. And so me and my mate Ben had been like best of buddies, like having this amazing collective mushroom trip together, and like felt like we'd gone on this journey together. These guys looked like they hated each other. And what had happened is one of them fell into a ditch behind the bar, and they just sat in a dark hole for like 3 hours, having a really negative.
God.
Yeah, so we had
That's
an
my
amazing
nightmare.
time. They had a really bad time.
Yeah.
And so they were like, they hated each other. And so we sat down, and then one of them, we were looking as the sun rose, and one of them just goes, "I've pissed myself." And he just pissed his pants right next to us. And so that was my first time having mushrooms. And it was such a magical, it was a magical experience. It felt so spiritual. I felt like, there's more to life than what we see every day. There's beauty out there. Life's this adventure. And so I was thinking, like, we get told that legal drugs are fine and illegal drugs are bad, but I was like, this is not my experience. And so, I when I came back, I wanted to keep chasing that kind of experience.
100%.
And so that's when we figured out how to grow them. And I had so many positive experiences, both using them in Sydney and selling them to people, because, no one's going out and bashing people on mushrooms.
No.
Or like committing crimes to chase their mushroom addiction. That just doesn't happen.
It seems to be like without grassing anyone up, in my experience, there's a real resurgence of like mushroom caps and people getting on mushrooms is like quite big at the moment. I think the cost is one.
They're
Like,
prescribing them now, I think, mate.
yeah, but even like recreationally, like I know a lot of guys that like just like taking mushroom caps and going having a few beers and like going to a concert. I think
It's the best bang for buck, man.
for like what you get for $300 bag of cocaine, which is just in this country atrocious.
Well, maybe from the guys you're getting it from. But,
I love you still take pride in it.
when you have a reputable supplier.
Of course. But and like you say, bang for your buck. Like you can go out and have, I don't know what it's, mushy cap, $20, $30, whatever, and like people seem to be having a lot of fun.
Yep. I found it was funny when it was first growing in popularity over like the first 10 years. I'd be really busy over summer when people were going on camping trips and shit like that. Then it'll get really quiet in winter. And then I'd have a huge spike around Vivid Light Festival.
Nice.
In Sydney. That would
I
be
like that you
huge.
could track it.
Yeah. Oh, man, of course.
Spreadsheets.
But then over years, it just became big all the time.
Yeah.
But there was a time where it was just like dead. We'd wind down operations, just have heaps of mushrooms in the freezer because they kept for quite a while.
Nice.
Ah.
But then we'd have a huge spike around end of May when Vivid was on.
Nice.
It was like, bang. And so I had to have thousands ready for that.
Just for the Vivid, all the kids at Vivid.
Because all the people walking around, look at these fucking stupid lights on the walls,
Yeah.
but like on mushrooms, like, oh. So,
We went to a Blink 182 not long ago, and one of the boys had a couple, and I had just as much fun watching him. So I drove and just watching his reaction, because it was a really good like light show and a bit of pyro, and I'd just sort of go between the band and then watch him, and he was having the time of his life. It's I think Vivid would be pretty special too.
it's just, I don't know. Hopefully things are changing with our perspectives in society around some of these drugs, because some of the funnest, friendliest, most social times I had were on psychedelics, mainly magic mushrooms. But I don't think that they are the problem in the world. Like part of the reason I rationalized what I was doing was because drinking and gambling were such problems for me, and they're both legal, and like mushrooms were the ones making money out of mushrooms was the one that kept digging me out of the hole.
Yeah.
But selling to people, they're always going and doing such positive things. A lot of people come and say that they want to give me a hug after they bought drugs off me, and I'm like, I don't feel like I'm doing anything particularly wrong.
Yeah, it is. I think like people
Don't get that from the cokeheads.
No, they come and they go, man, I got a good business idea you should hear about, but
you want to start a
Pizzas for dogs.
You want to start?
it does sound like a coke idea that I turn into reality. Wait, you're actually going to do that?
And it works.
And then let's start a podcast as well as the other Coke chat. Yeah,
Tick.
I think, like you say, there's that societal thing of like it's just drugs, all drugs, that blanket thing of like. But there is there is categories and there is like a type of person and there is a, like you say, like, yeah, mushrooms probably are less harmful than what coke is.
Exactly.
Like,
We've simplified, and the cops do a lot of it, of simplifying the conversation to illegal drugs are bad.
Yes.
It's like, well, hold on, which drugs?
Yeah.
Let's talk about them. Let's break it down. Because if you're talking about heroin or ice, I agree. If you're talking about like acid or MDMA or mushrooms, then I find it hard to agree with you there.
Yeah.
And things like that affect people differently, right? And I think the oldest fucking conversation is moderation, right? People are going to abuse alcohol. They're going to abuse gambling. There's certain personality types that are just going to take advantage of any fucking vice, I guess.
And you've only got to flick the footy on a Friday night and it's just punting and piss. Like the ads, or they're all like, I mean, that's, it's no coincidence. Like every fucking ad you watch Friday night footy, it's just fucking Bundy Rum, Tui's new VB, and then fucking
Sports
TAB,
bet.
and then Neds, and then like you just, they're getting their cut. That's why that's all play on. Like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, we'll see over the next few years. I think that the changes we're seeing now are interesting. I never thought it was going to be like soon after I got out of prison for mushrooms and MDMA that they were going to be legalized for medicinal use. That was interesting to see that there was
annoying, I imagine.
God damn it!
What? What? Well, I mean, that was part of the conversation as well that kept me out of prison, was that the judge accepted that my serious charges for large commercial supply of magic mushrooms and acid are not the drugs that are destroying Australia or society.
So even they acknowledge it to a degree.
Yeah. We couldn't use it so much as an argument because it was still like they're Class A drugs. I was still breaking the law, and I acknowledge that. But there is I think a shifting perspective in understanding that there are nuances between all these drugs. They're not all the same. But in prison, like the most damaging one that's led most guys to prison is ice, right? It's either guys that are in there because of crimes that they did on ice or for crimes they did to fund an ice addiction, or they were selling it, whatever. So, that seems to be the common denominator around the vast majority of guys that are locked up.
Yeah, it's crazy.
When you do get put in jail and the Raptor squad gets you or whatever, how does it work in terms of your money? Like, did you have? I guess you would have been operating in cash, right? Did they just freeze all that? That's fucking for the police now.
They did take some cash from the house that I didn't get. That the restaurant went under, so there was nothing really there. There wasn't really much more I had in my bank account because I was just constantly. Like I'd have 30 grand coming in a week and I'd spend 40 grand or something like that. Like my life was just so insane. I think there was just the more money you make, you find, particularly when it's crime money, you find stupid ways to spend it. So I was like putting 8 grand a week up my nose. I had a fiance that wanted fucking the world. I fucking was pouring it into a restaurant and gambling and going out to restaurants. So yeah, I was acting like the sky was never going to fall.
Yeah.
So all I have left from my crime days is a bunch of rare Air Jordans and a couple of signed boxing gloves. That's about all I have, and a story. Which
I was going to say, and another little story,
and a couple of jokes.
Yeah.
So how does it work? In terms of having a lawyer, do you have to pay for that, or do you get to sign that?
My parents paid for the lawyer, which I was very fortunate for. But otherwise, I probably would have. I would have had some cash from the restaurant I could have pulled out to pay for that, or got a public defender. So yes, but I was fortunate. My parents hired someone who had a good legal defence, which helps. They say that there's no truth in sentencing, right? There's a lot of it just comes down to the luck of the draw with the judge you get, but you also it does help. It does pay to have some strong legal debate.
Yeah, fuck, man. My uncle's a barrister, and like they start talking about it around the dinner table and the big dogs down there and how it all works, and it's a wild world. It's fucking wild.
Who you know?
Yeah.
It's all who you know and kind of, like,
it really is.
And considering that's like the legal system, like it's probably the one thing that shouldn't, not the one thing, but it's something that shouldn't be like that. A lot of it is, like you say, if you can afford a good lawyer, you're out.
Well, a lot of these big barristers, man, like they start as DPP, right? They start on the prosecution side, and then they have all these contacts, and they flip to the to the dark side, I guess they'd call it. Not for me. These are the good guys. But they have,
fucking legend.
But they know these guys enough to be able to be like to negotiate a little bit on various bits.
Yeah. It's fucking.
So I was fortunate. If I pled guilty to the large commercial supply of magic mushrooms and acid and MDMA, they agreed, because there was such a backlog of criminal cases because of COVID. They agreed that if I pleaded guilty to that, they'd knock back my supply of cocaine and ketamine to personal use, even though they were like, it was like half an ounce. So it was like,
he's using. You probably were, to be fair.
I absolutely was. But on their metrics, they think that can't possibly be right. But I'm like, it was right. Yeah, I was absolutely doing more than 14 grams of coke a week.
They got this one right.
Fucking hell. On to the book quickly. We can wrap it up soon. We're getting close to your. You got to get out of here. So it's called The Profound Lessons from a Lot.
Profound Benefits of a Stint in Prison.
So is it kind of autobiographical? Is it what?
Yeah. So it starts with the raid of my house, because that was it's a pretty wild story and a good place to start. And it's funny when the Raptor squad told me I had a tiny cock and I was a fat cunt, even though I had pants on. So that was like
you had a bad morning.
So that was like originally, that was one of my first stand-up bits was the fact that I had my pants on meant that that was their way of letting me know I was under surveillance, right? So that was kind of that made it very easy for me to come up with joke ideas, because there was just so many insane things from my arrest that just led themselves to comedy.
100%.
And so, it's just a story of how I got into drug dealing, how that kind of grew from just like a hobby into a big business, me getting sent to prison, my time in prison, and how that kind of changed my life, and then the kind of early doors steps after that of me getting into comedy.
Fuck yeah. And so I know we touched on it before, the writing process. Did you struggle at all coming up? Were you writing 1,000 words a day?
Yeah.
Was that a chore for you, or was it like you said, like you've lived it all, it's all kind of there?
Yeah,
you just draw on it pretty easily?
I think that definitely helped, because it was in my head already. I wasn't having to create as much as just remember. But true. I found that if I limited it to 1,000 words a day, then it was easy, because there would be days where I could smash it out really easy. And then I could have kept rolling, but I'd stop there because I didn't want to get discouraged on like the days when I was struggling to get it out. I wanted to just be like, you just got to keep hitting it 1,000. And once if I was on a roll and I stopped at 1,000, my brain's still ticking over about where the story goes next. So when I sit down the next day, I'm rolling straight in.
That's good.
Yeah.
So I just continued to have momentum.
That's really good. Keep it in the tank kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Shoot your load, so to speak.
Exactly. Whereas if I'm pumping out 2,000, 2,500, 3,000 a day, and the next day I can't really figure out where I'm up to next.
Yeah.
I'm just limping through 200 words.
I get it. Yeah.
Then I'm like, fuck, annoyed.
Yeah.
So I just
you get to leave yourself progress for the next day.
Exactly right.
That's cool.
So I just smash out 1,000, then just go and do the rest of the stuff I wanted to do.
Nice and consistent approach to it too. It's fucking
no more, no less. Even if you feel like you want to.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Not even if you feel like you could, just leave it.
Yeah.
Bang.
Yeah. That's fucking really smart. I like that.
How did it feel when
Don't thank me.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stephen.
How'd you feel when you got it done? Like, was there any times where you did struggle, or you like it was kind of a hard task?
I found the hardest part reviewing it and editing it, because you just
were you told to take stuff out?
Yeah, there was stuff I had to take out. There was a story about my 25th birthday when I had a bunch of dwarfs walk around with plates of cocaine on their heads. And
were they straight? I'm picturing a chin strap so the plates didn't fall, just balancing.
Just a plate balance on the head. they held. And so then I argued that wasn't offensive, because I got down on my knees and let them do cocaine off my head.
Yeah, I mean, that's equality. That's
you're
what
right.
that is.
Thank you.
100%.
That's what I think. But they thought that was a bit much. So
I'm glad we got it out there on the podcast. Anyway, I'm glad. Yeah.
So
that sounds like a party I want to fucking be at.
Oh man. Okay. So
that's for Wall Street shit.
You can do this, my friend. So there is a website which still exists called dwarfmyparty.com, and you can rent dwarfs to come to your party.
Link in the show notes.
The
link is in the show notes. 100%.
I got the double trouble package, 2 dwarfs for 4 hours for $1,000. I was many years ago. It's probably gone up in price. By now.
I mean, inflation, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah, that's that sort of stuff.
I mean, the dwarfs aren't inflated, but the
they're getting bigger.
Yeah,
These are just normal sized people.
they charge you money and a regular dude shows up.
It's just me. Some guy's like 5'5".
Inflation, just a kind of short guy. And it costs fucking 1,600 now. It's inflation. Fuck me.
So,
That's great stuff.
yes, I'm pretty sure they'll be the same size. But
Is it supposed to be for kids?
no, absolutely not.
No.
No, this is fair. Because I asked about, as soon as I got there, I'm like, do you mind walking around with cocaine on your heads? And they were like, we get asked this all the time. It's totally fine.
It's
sick.
Yeah.
They brought their own plate.
But they
It's like
got
we do this every night.
anything where they need, they want dwarfs. I think they get invited to like sex parties and all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff.
Gym
One of
masks
them
and shit.
that I knew used to get invited on for Melbourne Cup every year to stand outside of a pub with a Shetland pony. It's like him dressed as a jockey. I don't know.
That rules.
People are sick. People are weird. What's wrong with them?
Just for the entertainment of
Yeah, I
strangers.
hate that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely won't be doing that at the 100th episode when it rolls around.
Invite me. I'll probably know.
100%. 100%.
So, yes, that's not in the book, but there's a lot of other weird stuff in there. There's just me talking about holding a straw for a guy with cerebral palsy while he did cocaine that I sold him. That's that kind of fun stuff.
You were a nice drug dealer.
I was
You
a
were-
lovely
You
guy.
were the man.
Yeah, you can.
He's a lovely guy, man, not just a drug
You
dealer.
can be a drug dealer with heart. That's what a lot of people don't understand.
Ethical drug dealer.
That's what we were talking about the other day. All these people, these shitty drug dealers, will send out like marketing messages.
I still
like,
get them.
You know. But I tell
Snapchat's
you what,
bad
if you're
for
a
it.
good dealer, you don't need to ever do that.
Yeah.
Because people will come to you.
Like, this
You don't-
guy does not hassle me. He doesn't want to do the coke with me.
Yeah.
He lets me go.
But also, if you're selling good cocaine, people will word will spread. People will
Word
come
of mouth's
to you.
the best marketing.
Yeah, you don't need to be sending out market. Hey man, we've got a special on for Origin. What?
I remember
Just sell good drugs.
100% pure. It's
I actually
like,
saw
the fact
one
that
of
you're
the
clarifying.
Cracker.
the
Yeah.
manpower, like the motivational quotes, and it was someone talking about how powerful word of mouth is. And they're like, yeah, you'll tell 10 people. I was like, well, that's completely true for the drug trade, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
If you see a guy sending out marketing messages for his cocaine, he's selling dog shit.
He sucks.
There you go. That's one thing you can take away from this episode.
There we go.
There's a few good nuggets of truth there. Well, Andrew, we know you're busy. You got a busy day today, mate. So thank you very much. You got a heap of shows coming up. You're going on a big regional tour.
I am doing a big regional tour. I'm doing like 22 or something stupid towns around Australia. In August, I'm coming back to Newcastle. I think it's something like the 3rd of August. I'll be at the Newcastle Comedy Club. That will be me doing my debut show. Jokes about the time I went to prison. I'll have my book there. I'll be selling the book as well. So that's what essentially the tour is a book tour and a comedy show tour
Perfect.
into one.
Two birds, one stone.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very
So
good.
come along to the show. Come and get the book if you want, and we'll have some fun.
Awesome. And where can the guys find you? I know we've got the Flog Cabin podcast, socials.
Yeah, Andrew Hamilton Comedy online. Or at a comedy venue near you real soon, hopefully.
Amazing, mate. We'll have the link for Andrew's book pre-sale in our show notes for this podcast as
That'd be
well.
awesome.
Yeah, well, for sure,
Yeah,
mate.
100%.
No,
Thanks for
appreciate you
coming on,
coming up.
mate. It was an inspirational story.
Thank you, man.
It is.
It is.
It
It
is.
is. No, appreciate it,
It's
mate.
weird that people say that, but
Oh, man, you're known as like a fun guy, and you are a funny guy. But your story from where you come from to be a successful comedian is fucking inspiring.
I think a lot of people relate to people having stories where they fuck up and then come back from it more
Yeah.
than someone who's never fucked up in their entire life.
100%.
So that's what I didn't realize is that, I just try and do my best now and acknowledge my fuck ups and own them. And that seems to resonate with a lot of people.
Fuck yeah, man. We're killing it. It's awesome.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me, boys.
No,
This
thanks
is
for
fun.
coming.
You're my boy, Blue!